Run when the rhythm's right. Go into the night. Go until you're out of sight and you're out of my mind. Run when the rhythm's right. Go into the night. Floating as the river flows, easy as it goes to the ocean. So walk on by, I've got no reason to love you, but I do, I do, I do. So walk on by, I've got no reason to love you, but I do, I do, I do. Show me colors of the sky, but all I see is gray. You lost me when you lied. Promise me, but you never tried. Secrets in your eye, you go and run, I'll hide. Show me colors of the sky, but all I see is gray. You lost me when you lied. I don't ever wanna be crowned, just another prize. It breaks my heart, heart, breaks my heart, 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 breaks my heart, 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 breaks my heart, 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 breaks my heart. Lost in the midnight blue shadows of the moon. Here with open arms for you, feeling something so new. Said with me you'd reach the sun. Oh, but we were so young. Love me till the summer's done, but keep me in your heart, so I hold on. So walk on by, I've got no reason to love you, but I do, I do, I do. So walk on by, I've got no reason to love you, but I do, I do, I do. Show me colors of the sky, but all I see is gray. You lost me when you lied. Promise me, but you never tried. Secrets in your eye, you go and run, I'll hide. Show me colors of the sky, but all I see is gray. You lost me when you lied. I don't ever wanna be crowned, just another prize. It breaks my heart. Colors of the sky, breaks my heart. All I see is colors of the sky, but all I see is colors of the sky. Colors of the sky, but all I see is colors of the sky. But all I see is colors of the sky. Colors of the sky, but all I see is colors of the sky. All I see is colors. to the ground now, and somehow I feel like you don't know me. Shook me to the ground now, I don't even know how. Brought me to a life that you never showed me. Coming from a locked up ghost of yourself, but you're coming from the light. There's more to you than you ever thought there was. Yeah, you're coming from the light.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome, Americans. Happy 4th of July to you one and all. Live from Tokyo, I say, button. Hello, friends. How's it going? Welcome. Hope things are going well for you, no matter where you are. If you're somewhere celebrating various kinds of independences, I hope it's the case it's not too terribly noisy. I know things get kind of loud, kind of crazy sometimes. Hopefully the neighbors are, keeping it down or being respectful, especially as the time is later in the day. That'd be a lovely, lovely thing for sure. Hello to Jim, Miss, welcome in. How you doing today, my friend? Good to see you today. Cyber Oracle, Zarius, hello. Little Bit, what's up? Little Bit, you called me old man. That's definitely a great way to start the day. Feel my arthritis acting up. I don't think I have arthritis yet, but I have the vague feeling that arthritis is coming for me one of these days. It's in my shoulder. When it gets cold, it's like, oh, there's something in there. There's something. How we doing, Axix? What is up to you, Hytalian? Forcom, welcome. Peppered, say hi. I'm not sure if I did yet. Everyone, hello. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to spend a bit of your day with me, good old Resorty. Friends, today we continue our playthrough of Stellaris. You'll be aware that yesterday things did not go super well. I misunderstood how mechanic worked, and it led to a slight oopsie-doopsie, we'll call it. A slight oopsie-doopsie that I don't actually think we can recover from in any substantial way. But we're going to give it our best shot today. I'm feeling full of energy, hope, and possibility. And so maybe we can get our Stellaris playthrough back on the rails again. But if not, we'll see. Has the Empire hit rock bottom? Ban. Super Cheese, thank you for being here, my friend. And not quite yet. We had a civil war. And I'm not going to go through all of it, but a fleet of the enemy returned from emergency FTL in a very inconvenient place and destroyed about 4,000 of my ships. And that led our war score to go from like 40-something to 100 exhaustion. And then we were dead, and that was the end. So we lost 3 or 4 of our planets, like boom. And these planets were essential for the maintenance of the Empire. So today we need to either like substantially change what the Empire is doing, just to hold on for right now, or possibly start disassembling the fleet, which is definitely the best of decisions. We have a giant empire. Who needs a navy? Not us. We'll see how it goes. I think we only have a few more years, though, of needing to hold on before we can take back our former planets, and that will be a very, very good thing. I just can't wait, but we'll see. Exist, how you doing, my friend? What do I have for you today? Number 1, I have a doctor's appointment at 11:15 my time. Now, the appointment is here on the TV screen, here on the Twitch machine, so don't you worry. It will be very brief. I won't need to disappear for hours and drive across town and so on. That's right, I drive. So I'll disappear for a bit and then I'll come back, though I'm guessing many of you will have already gone to bed then, because 11:15 my time is, I don't know, some hours from now. But just so you know, I will be disappearing and then reappearing. There'll be 2 streams today, so that's the first thing. Don't worry, this doctor's appointment is just my once every couple months bribe to my psychiatrist to give me more medication. I cannot get a standing prescription here to save my life, so I think he'll give me up to 3 months at a time of psych meds, and then after the 3 months are up, gotta meet him again, gotta pay him hundreds of dollars, and then he says, all right, here's your medicine, and that is that. So at some point, I'm gonna try to move over to a provider inside of the Japanese healthcare system, and then it'll be cheaper, and that will be good. And yeah, just right now I'm trying to work with someone who has native English to be able to talk about my problems, and yeah, it's annoying. And back in the US, by the time I had my diagnoses done and was just on stable medicine, I think the meetings to get new meds were only, I don't know, $25, maybe $30, which is still money, but it's not $200, and so it's a little annoying. Anyway, thanks for the tips, thanks for the subs, thanks for allowing me to pay for my medicine. It's an important part of the ongoing resorty experience. Alright, what else I got for you? Well, here I have a question for you. Those of you who are having today off, or had today off, did you do anything fun? Any unexpected pleasures today, or is there anything, is there anything that's you'd like to share with the class? I'm always glad to hear your stories. If it was just a hang around the house day, that's awesome too. And I know for a lot of you, it was just, Tuesday. So hopefully Tuesday went okay. Exists for you every 3 months like clockwork, all good, okay. Yeah, I think my provider feels bad about this. So when he shows up on the TV box, he always has like a little bit of polite chat, like how's your teaching going, and are you settling in well, and how are your language skills, etc., etc., etc. And then he eventually says, so how are your symptoms? And I say, about the same as last time. Everything is okay. And then he wants to ask something more, because he realizes that being paid for one whole hour or half hour is just very, very awkward. When when there really is no conversation to be had. I don't want to say it's a scam, but it feels like a scam that you can only give out 3 months at a time. Anyway, enough complaining about that. We'll make it work for soon. Actually, had rain all day, so no fireworks. Oh, wow. I mean, rarely am I excited to have a rainy day, but in a case like this, it makes total sense why you'd be excited. Yeah. Hopefully the youth are still delighted over the, community fireworks. I'm always grateful when, communities throw big shows for people who either don't or can't buy their own fireworks, but also, who are being responsible and not making the world a noisy place. That's how it goes. Cybercool, you end up chatting with your doctor about her dancing school. Yeah, I guess I could take the whole half hour. I'm scheduled for half hour. I could begin demanding my provider to answer my questions for time. So how are you doing? How are your symptoms? But truthfully, I just want to get back to streaming. I want to get back to doing other stuff. I like the guy just fine, but he's a provider, he's not a friend, and so if I tried to create a friendship, he wouldn't enjoy it, so hard to say. Jim, you started playing a game called Dave the Diver. I've heard such good things about Dave the Diver. Have any of you other folks seen it, played it? Is it a game that you'd recommend with 2 thumbs up? I know a lot of streamers have been checking out Dave the Diver, and I guess I'm curious, is it a game that would stream well? Which say, is it engaging if you're not personally playing it? Is it a game that benefits from multiple watches? Or once you understand the playthrough of Dave the Diver, is that kind of just it? Because I'm always looking for games that are fun to stream, fun that you would want to watch, as well as ones I'd want to play on my own. Because there's a real possibility that today is the last day of Stellaris. I very much want to fix it, but you know how that goes. All our hopes amount to nothing, possibly. While you're telling me about Dave the Diver, I'll tell you about Mr. Fritz. Yesterday was a very good day. A very good day in little Mr. Fritz's life. So Fritz is my orange cat. He's still around. He's a good guy. And Mr. Fritz has been, throughout the past decade or so unbelievably shy, nervous, anxious, etc. Because the other cat, beloved Sasha Bear, may have been abusive. These things happen. And now Sasha's dead, and Fritz is feeling a lot more confident in himself. And that is a good thing. It's good that he's feeling more confident. And he's coming out more often, and we're spending time with him, etc. One thing I noticed, though, is that all of the toys we had in the house had not been moved at all since Sasha died. They're just sitting in their box, and so yesterday I took them out and tried to play with them, and Fritz just wanted absolutely nothing to do with them. And then I had a thought. My thought was, does he think these toys are hers? Even though we purchased them while both of them were living in the house, is it possible that her domination over the situation caused him to believe in like permanent property rights on the toys? And so I went to the store and I bought the exact same kind of toys in the exact same colors that she had never used. And I brought them. I put one down, and holy cow, Fritz jumped right on it and batted at it and played with it and picked it up, like he used his little claws to grab the toy and throws it high in the air. And he scares himself so much. I don't know if he knows. I don't know if he knows his own strength. But yeah, he scares himself when he throws the toy and runs into the other room and then comes back in again. So I'm so happy. Because I thought he just didn't like toys. When I tried to play with him, often he didn't want to. But I've established now that he thought those were hers. And we tried to clean them. We tried to make them new again. But for every reason, no. But these new ones, he's on board. So I'll try to get you all a picture of Fritz playing with his toys. And it's nice. It's nice seeing him blossom here in his late middle age, we'll call it. And I hope that continues. I hope he has a good life. That said, he is so dog-like now, in the sense that he just follows me around absolutely everywhere. And I like it, except for the part where I try to go to a different room and forget he's down there and almost trip and hurt myself. One of these days, I guarantee I'll come on stream and say, hello friends, I've broken my leg because I tripped on the cat. He's just so like intermeshed with my legs and feet, and I don't like it at all. But he's a good cat anyway. Many of you said that Dave the Diver is a game you really enjoyed watching people stream it, you'd like to see it. Cool. Maybe after Stellaris we'll try Dave the Diver. It's definitely not a Paradox game. That's okay. I'm trying to do a little bit more variety-ish play from time to time. That said, we could also go back to Auction Not Included. So many games. Exists the idea of feedback on student proposals for an essay topic these days. You're a normal 16-year-old person, do not attempt to write an essay placing the birth of experimental psychology in the 19th century. Yeah, exist. I know exactly what you mean. Even with college students, occasionally they have beautiful ambitions. Like, they think they can hold all of history in a single vision. And they'll begin their proposal with, since the beginning of time, man has... Right, and so I just tell them, like, pick one little tiny topic. Pick one little tiny bits and try to build out from that into like just one thesis, just one claim. If you can do that, I'll be happy. And so I always try to like appreciate that students have these grand ambitions and grand curiosities. But I tell them this story. My master's thesis, which is a document about 75 type pages, my master's thesis is the attempt to understand and then apply or think through the ramifications of one single paragraph of an author's writing. One paragraph, I turned into 75 pages. And so in the exact same way, you can take just one idea and turn it into 7 pages or whatever it is. And yeah, I think often if they don't pick a huge topic, they really struggle with understanding how to fill those pages. And that's a little bit too bad. Hey, 2 cats yelling. It's good seeing you, 2 cats. Thank you for the refollow. How's it go, my friend? Welcome. Hello to Maronia. Any interest in grand strategies that are not from Paradox? So I don't know how to talk about this. I have myself pulled in 2 directions. I am ambivalent in some ways about grand strategy games. On the one hand, I love them. And I love that many of you enjoy grand strategy yourself, or at least tolerate me playing them and you watching. That's good. However, it's also important to me to find games that other people who are not already in our community want to take part in and engage with. And so any new game I'm recommended, unless I am over the moon excited about the game by itself, I always want to understand, is there a community for this game on Twitch outside of just us? And there are lots of businessy reasons for this and stream health reasons for this. So I've been told like there's really good games from like the 1980s and 1990s, you know, the very early grand strategy games. Like, is Master of Orion one of these maybe? I don't know. And someone's like, oh, it's the best 4X game ever. You've got to go play it. You've got to stream it. I want to see you play that game. And I was like, oh boy, a game from like 1994. I'm excited. And so I looked it up, and it has great reviews for the time. But it has no community all on stream. So yes, I am glad to hear, interested to hear suggestions for games that are not in my standard wheelhouse, not from the publishers I like most. I just know that Paradox Games have big communities of people who are really, really into Paradox Games in particular. And so I know I can always find new folks that way too. So that's where it is. That said, I know there are games like that, Terra, whatever it was. It's not Terra Invictus, is it? But something like that. So I just need to hear about them. So yeah, if you have any suggestions, I got my little pen here. I got my little sheet of paper here, and I'm happy to write it down. You can tell me what is what, but no promises ever. No promises ever. If you're having into real-time stuff, I can't think in real time, so I need to pause, unfortunately, especially while streaming. All right, with streaming, if I need to discuss something or want to discuss something that's more complicated than, yo, what's up, I need to pause the game and struggle my way through it. And yeah, it's not great for real-time games at all, because real-time games, there isn't an obvious pause button. Age of Wonders 4 would be awesome. I love Age of Wonders 4. We played it when it first went into early access, I think. We played 2 or 3 playthroughs, and Age of Wonders 4 was so much fun. I know they had a recent update involving dragons, I think. We could go back to Age of Wonders 4. It's very, very, very good indeed. To get the Galleon, you get very, very tunnel vision in real-time strategy games. Yeah. This is just like knowledge for myself about the kind of streamer I am and the kind of viewership we have. There's some streamers and some Twitch communities who are just there to see a streamer play at the highest possible level, and there's no conversation. It's just the streamer explaining what they're doing, locking in, and ignoring chat entirely. I don't know how to do that effectively, because I'm not that good at video games, so yeah, the real-time strategy games I do struggle with a little bit. That said, I said I wanted to go back and play the early StarCraft games, and maybe we'll do that at some point. Who knows? All right, we got 5 minutes until opening ad break. Between now and then, I have one more topic for you. This morning, my wife was listening to a podcast. Oh, before that, I should mention, my wife's contract finally came through. My wife's contract was for, I think, 3 years, and my wife has signed her contract. And so it looks like we'll be in Japan for the next few years at least. Where you'll recall a couple days ago I said, where is her contract? She's now working without one. It's possible we're going home real quick, but no. She got the contract, we're staying around, and I'm very glad for that for a few reasons. One, I hate moving. 2, my poor cat hates international moving. And then number 3, I'm really pleased with my current stream schedule. If I moved to the US, we'd have to flip it by like 12 hours, and that's no good for long-term health and for your happiness. We can't have that at all. So next few years here, very, very, very happy, frankly. So we'll see what comes after that. Like I said, my wife's probably on trajectory to become the president here someday, which is crazy. Poor kitty, 3-month quarantine each time. So not each time. If you're going from a nation without rabies into a nation with rabies, you don't have to quarantine. So when we leave Japan and go back to the US, I think there's some minor process on the cats, but it's nowhere like how it was going from the US into Japan. Yeah, into Japan you have to, get so many vet tests and so much paperwork, and the process really is about half a year long to get your pets into Japan. Now, if you go from Japan to another place that doesn't have rabies, Hawaii is one, it works really well also. It's just those from rabies places to non-rabies places you have to check very carefully. Do I have plans to move to the US, or is Japan more so home? I'm not entirely sure. When we first moved here, my wife and I said, let's give it about 5 years and see. Currently, we're planning to retire to the US just because the idea of talking about old age concerns with workers in our non-native language is sad for me. Like, it'd be very difficult to talk to a doctor about, gosh, you have a terminal disease, and I have to sound like a toddler responding to them. So there are some old age communities and hospitals here that are aimed towards non-native Japanese folks. They tend to be incredibly expensive, number one. And number two, they're staffed by people who don't have native level proficiency. And I'm totally fine interacting with and talking with and sharing space with people who are not absolutely fluent in English. After all, I'm not totally fluent in Japanese, to put it quite mildly. But yeah, I think when it comes to old age, unless I get basically fluent in Japanese, we'll probably want to go back to the US. But hopefully it's a long time off. I'm only 38 right now, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But for right now, Japan is home, and that's A-okay. Yeah, there's more to say on that, but it's not for right now. Okay, I had one more story for you. One more story. Noms this morning was listening to a podcast. The podcast is called Radiolab. Radiolab, of course, is a very popular podcast, so presumably some of you have seen it also or heard it also. This is just this week's episode, so if you want to listen to Radiolab on your own, spoilers ahead. I don't like Radiolab at all because they have lots of like weird beep boop noises, and I think it's meant to emphasize look, we're in a laboratory of ideas, but it always takes me out of the podcast. Like, I like words, I like music, but why is something going boop, 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 boop? That's weird. Anyway, Noms loves it, and so I occasionally overhear what she's listening to. And today, or this week, Radiolab is responding to a question that the physicist Richard Feynman put forward in 1961. He calls it the cataclysm question. It's of this form. Assume that some kind of civilization-ending activity happens on Earth. A war, a plague, whatever. And it ends up destroying all scientific knowledge. It ends up getting rid of all the people who know things about science. But we know that eventually there will be some other creatures who come along. Creatures who are intelligent enough to understand what we got. So a cataclysm has happened. And what is the one sentence that you would want to pass on to them to help them get back to our level of scientific knowledge? And now, of course, logic guy in me immediately says, just have lots of conjunctions and disjunctions, you can pack it all into one sentence. But he says, with packing in as much information in as few words as possible. So he says, okay, something terrible's happened, no more scientific knowledge, what do you do? What sentence could you pass on? And I'll give you his answer in just one moment. Volo, friend Volo, thank you for the continuing subscription. 63 months straight on through. Thanks for being part of our community all that way through. Volo, I appreciate it a whole bunch. So, an ad break is coming. On the other side of the ad break, I'll give you Feynman's answers. I'll read some of your answers, and then also I'll show how Radiolab has been taking this question and moving it beyond Feynman's concern. It's a really cool topic, and I should probably be in the Just Chatting directory, but I'm not. Again, Volo, thank you for your generosity in continued subscription. We now have 3 minutes of ads, so we'll pop on over to Crosswordville and start today's New Yorker crossword. If you were here yesterday, I did not finish a crossword on stream, but I went ahead and finished it last night. Hooray. I want to point out real quick that we were unsure what the activity for 8 people is. Pursuit for a group of 8. It is a square dance, etc., etc. It was a fun one, though. Apparently also, Andy Warhol had some art involving Mao Zedong. Also, apparently, after the Second World War and the early 21st century was the golden age of TV. There you go. Let's go and get today's started then and see what comes. Speaking of what comes, the ad break has not yet come. Hopefully it does fairly soon. All right, Eric Agard is our cruciverbalist today, and he has that ridiculously amazing hair. Gotta love that. Gotta love that. Gru, to clear it up, I don't want help, like Googling, but you're free to say if you know or take unassisted guesses. No. I appreciate the question. So I prefer crossword time to be you all talk about other things, or make jokes about things I have said, or engage with things I've said. I don't want any help on here's what the right answer is. Now, at some point, enough time will have gone on, and I'll say, all right, I'm going to take down the Don't Help Me page, and we'll work on it together. But yeah, this is very much a single-player game, or else it's just not super fun for me. I apologize, but that's how it is. So back in the day, I used to put everybody in emote-only mode. We haven't had to return to that. I hope we don't need to, but we will see. We will see. But happy to explain. Happy to explain. All right. So spot in the playoffs. So in the playoffs, there's often seeding of different teams in different orders, etc. The word spot, anytime I see it in a crossword, I immediately think it's about a dog. That's how it goes. I don't know how to ignore chat. So cat, it's not that. I can't ignore chat. The problem is, after the crossword time is done, I have to look back over on chat again. And the answers will still be there. And I can do like a clear chat mode, but it doesn't clear chat for me because I'm the stream owner. And so the answers will be there. And like I said, that's less fun, unfortunately. Spot in the playoffs could also be like just a team or something. I'm not sure. Not in mint condition. I assume this is used, but this is a Tuesday puzzle, so it should still be fairly difficult. I don't feel great about used. We'll see. Blank Goddess, a Lacey Mosley podcast dedicated to fraud and all those who practice it. It could be Scam Goddess based on the description. I'm going to put that in, and we'll do some downs now and see if Scam is right. So no actor has a part in this. No actor has a part in this. Potentially some like nature documentary. I mean, a documentary in general wouldn't have actors. That said, no actor has a part in this. Like going to the Central City Government Building. There are no actors there. I have no idea. Another name for the mountain is Sagarmatha or Sagarmatha. I can imagine that it's over in India, Nepal, that kind of place based on the name, but I'm really not sure. And Everest. Everest fits. I'm suspicious. We'll see. Jingle dresses, fancy shawls, etc. I assume a jingle dress is kind of clothing that has bells on it, but I have absolutely no idea. Fishes with a net. That could be trawls. Campus buildings. Well, there are dorms for one. TD ending I don't like at all. With an S, which is often a common ending. Yeah, nothing comes to mind. Actor Studi, who's played Geronimo, Red Cloud, and Wovoka. Yeah, no idea. And breakfast beverages for short. Uh-oh. Breakfast beverages for shorts. So it's like shakes. That starts with an S. But how on earth would we abbreviate shakes? Or smoothies, I guess, are another kind of S. There's tea, there's coffee, there's milk. I'm not sure. Important pieces in Le Jour d'Esch. Those are French words. Infamous lock or infamous lock. So tradition is Loch Ness. So not in mint condition involving an N there. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, this seemed a little bit too easy for a Tuesday. Reason to crack a window. To break a child out of a car. Cracking also means to roll it down a little bit. Incidentally, this is rolling down windows. It's not pushing buttons. But like a hot day, maybe summer day. Does that fit? No. Cat. Oops. Person who's been swayed. So swayed could be both Swayed could be both like intellectually, being convinced of something. It could also be a person who's dancing. Maybe the following partner dances swayed. It could also be like on a very, very windy day, a person is swayed by the wind. That's possible. Hey, Misty Nuts, thank you much indeed for the generous resubscription. Thanks for the Prime sub. Hope you're doing well, friend. Thanks for being here sincerely. A major road. The word artery, or the word artery is often used for a big road. Like finger painting. I think it's messy. Messy seems good there. All right. Scam feels fairly strong. We'll see. Mean guy. Probably average Joe. Wasn't there also Joe the plumber? So the voice of Middle America back during, was that McCain versus Obama? That's like that. Again, Miss, thank you for the resub. I appreciate that bundle. Went quickly. So this could mean to like run fast. It could also mean something is used up quickly also. Not sure. Tore. The word tore might be right. Like tore through something. They can help with meeting firm deadlines. The TS ending makes me think alerts, like calendar alerts possibly, but I feel good about Everest now because that V is in that position. Speak slowly, probably drawls, that seems likely. Cracks. So it could be like cracking under pressure, exposing a secret, breaking, all those are possibilities. Members of bacterial colonies. Well, the word germs comes to mind, but I don't really know too much about bacteria and such. Cells. Cells seem very likely there. Make a decision. Probably opt. Suspicious. Unsure. Let's see if we can get the downs over here now. About a minute left until we return to our game and conversation. No actors a part in this. So, yesterday or the day before, the word part was used, talking about part of one's hair, like the split in one's hair, but I don't see a connection between that and acting. Jingle dresses, etc. No. Campus buildings. So I should get this one immediately. Like this would be obvious. They're called halls. Yeah, often named halls for that. Spot in the playoffs is a berth. Playoff berth, I think. With that many letters not having anything, it makes me worry something's wrong down below. Not sure though. Regalia. Fancy shawls or regalia. Really? Help with firm deadlines. Regal? Beagle? Teagle? Current condition is as is. Very good. Organization for educators, the PTA. A bald cap. So it was about hair. If you have a bald cap on, your hair is hidden. There's no parts with no hair. So legal something. Result of sublimation, that's a gas, and that will be good for now. A fine start. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out as we get started on this lovely Tuesday. Let's go back to Big Resortia Clock. Hello again, folks. Hello. Before the crossword break, we were talking about this question Richard Feynman put forward. If all of scientific knowledge and humanity were destroyed, removed, what's one sentence you wish we could pass on for scientific knowledge to be rebuilt, recreated and such? Here are some ideas that you all put forward. You're wrong. Zardoz. I should say with you're wrong. I like that. I think part of the scientific attitude is saying there's a possibility we're mistaken. The philosopher Wilfred Sellers says, what science is a self-correcting process wherein any part of it can be doubted, but not all at once. And I think it's a very nice way of presenting that central idea of fallibility, that you can take apart certain steps and hopefully move in a progressive direction, just not all at once. I don't know what Zardoz means. People are laughing at it, so Zardoz, a fine answer. Test it and test again. Yeah, it's the idea of replicability and experimentalism. I like that. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Yeah, that's the one thing I know about biology also. I wonder why that stuck. Like, there's obviously kind of meme jokiness about this. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell is the one thing we all remember about biology. Is it because the word powerhouse is so unusual? Like, I know a powerhouse is, what, like a part of a generator? Or maybe a waterfall dam thing that takes the water and turbines or... welcome to not knowing engineering. But yeah, we all know this phrase, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. You might say, you're next. All right, so the pursuit of the sciences leads to the end? Humanity deserved this. I gotta say, so many of your answers are so cynical. your answers about how do you pass on scientific knowledge are, welcome to being destroyed, pure pessimism ahead. Feynman back in 61 was so optimistic. This was as they were heading towards the moon, and the belief that scientific inquiry would set us free somehow. We're deeply, deeply suspicious now, possibly. Humanity deserved it. You'd say work your way up to the sky. Italian, that's lovely. Yours is the one optimistic answer here. I think it gives a nice aim to look towards more than just the Earth around. That's how that goes. That's how it goes. Equal MC squared. So the problem with saying equals MC squared is this assumes a symbology that maybe wouldn't make sense to people who didn't already have that kind of idea in mind. So Feynman was insisting that you could assume a symbol system of interpretable language, but you couldn't give them the whole of mathematics in a single sentence. Though again, maybe you can do so if it's a very disjunctive and conjunctive sentence. So let me go and tell you what Feynman said. He said the most important thing to pass on in hopes of rebuilding science is everything is made of smaller things that operate according to regular rules. I think that's an interesting answer, because it's the kind of thing that's not immediately apparent from ordinary observation. From ordinary observation, we say, okay, middle-sized object, that's the long and short of it. What a tremendous leap it is to say this thing, which appears to be stable and solid and so on, is actually divisible not just by hitting it with a hammer, but something else also. So, yeah, I think it's a really interesting way of going to try to move people back in the direction he wants them to go. Now, that said, of course, Feynman is a physicist, right? Feynman's a physicist. And so, of course, he's saying, here is the physical properties or metaphor you need in order to get where you are. Sort of science you disagree hard? Yeah, I think it takes a lot of work to get you to that mattering at all. Because, Lucretius thought that was true too. And good luck getting workable physics out of Lucretius. Love it. It's not true there are fundamental particles as far as you know. Yeah, I think what Feynman is saying, though, is... he didn't say it has to be a true sentence. But I think the step that says things can be broken apart according to rules, etc., is a useful step. If you start breaking stuff apart, maybe you'll get to the issue of unbreakable basic matter or whatever at the bottom. But if you start with things are unbreakable, then I think you don't get to the stuff that Feynman cared about. That's how it goes. You think that telling them about math is basically science would be better? Maybe. The issue, of course, is how do you express what math is? I don't know. Yeah, it really is just one sense with a lot of information, and that's an impossibly hard task, of course. I'll get to what the Radiolab podcast was done with this in just a moment. Because, of course, I'm not a scientist. I read some philosophy of science, but it's not my specialization, so I can't say much about that. But the way in which Radiolab took it is super, super interesting. Kat, you have an idea on this phrase, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. You think it's because cellular power generation is so abstract. So what's power to a cell, etc.? It's a good example of biology being taught in an easy style of facts at an introductory level. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right that the average high schooler's understanding of anything is so limited that We just need metaphors and pictures and so on. Because there's something about ATP, which is I don't recall the try in there somewhere. Maybe a phosphate at the end, etc., etc. Yeah, and I understand these words. I understand these words being, but the idea of actually understanding how this chain of something becomes, look, my arm is moving, far too difficult. And I guess I'm curious though why that slogan is the one that so many of us hang on to. Maybe it's just the absolutely perfect encapsulation of what people need to know to understand how cellular respiration works, something like that. But yeah, I'm always curious how memes develop, I guess. And I think a lot of memes start with entertainment jokes, right? Start with places where, people are having fun. And the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, I think is only fun or funny because of its mimetic references. I wonder how many other classroom phrases are held on by such a large portion of the population. Now, I reckon, of course, this slogan is probably only useful in, in English, of course, but also in a very naive understanding. You know, the opposite, the phrase has no fundamental science. There's a pop fact people have right to ridiculous having no use. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I don't remember what I thought back in middle school or high school. I remember memorizing a lot of things about the cell and having a workable model for my own. Yeah, a workable model for my own very limited understanding of what's happening at a cellular level. Now, workable understanding, I think, is just enough to make a high school student like me stop asking questions. But also I recognize, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a biologist. I'm not trying to create or develop anything. Yeah, I think that question of what counts as good enough knowledge for topics outside of my specialty is something I don't fully know how to describe. But there's some topics where I'm just so curious and I won't stop asking questions and reading until I think I've got it down. But cellular energy consumption is just not one of them. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe what it is just a dumb line, dumb line. But there you go. There's a paper called Water H2O. Actually, I've read that. Yeah. Chemical revolution benefits from Aristotelian substance as opposed to the composition approach. Maybe so. I don't know enough about philosophy of science or history of science for that matter, to know how exactly we got from thinking there were, 5 basic substances to whatever we're doing now. But yeah, I think often there's a presence bias, where we say our way of understanding today is what people needed to know way back when to get to where we are now. If you suddenly gave some early alchemist or Merlin access to a scientific manual from today, would they be able to recreate all the things we have today? It's a great topic for movies, right? The idea of a person hundreds and thousands of years ago having access to the A-bomb, oh gosh, but I don't know how it would actually work in terms of conceptual revolutions and getting people from step to step throughout. Anyway, the Radiolab episode tried to move it out of the scientific discourse. They had a bit of conversation about why is science the thing that you want to recreate? And again, Feynman, a scientist. Feynman, a physicist. And in this lecture, he was trying to talk to people about the value of physics and the sciences and so on. And like I said, back in the 60s, it was a very optimistic question. So Radiolab, first problematizes that, saying, is it the case that what we want for humanity is to rush us right back into contemporary industry, contemporary communication systems, military applications, and so on? Or are there other parts of human knowledge that are perhaps more important to pass on? So they took the question from how would you pass on scientific knowledge with a single sentence to instead, if you wanted humanity or whatever creatures to come afterwards to have the most important kind of knowledge, what one sense would you put forward? And I don't know. I find this a profoundly interesting question, and I don't have any clever answer figured out quite yet. Yeah. And so I'm curious what you think. I'm sure there's like some hot take answers. They're meme answers, but I don't know. The podcast is interviewing different experts in different fields, many pop experts, but Caitlin Doty, who's a popular writer on all things death. Her big essay collection is "The Smoke Gets in Your Eyes: Lessons from the Crematorium." Says the most important thing to pass along is the phrase, "You will die." And definitely I've taught meaning of life classes where I've tried to work off that premise and talk about temporality and finitude and limitations on being and choices and so on. But I don't think I'd send that particular line through history because we already know it, right? I think that any kind of mortal creature or set of creatures would be well aware of the fact of finitude. And so I think it's like an individually useful existentialist moment that says, okay, given my finitude, what do I do with myself? Given our finitude, what do we do with ourselves? But unless you're saying, like, you will die, so find a way to avoid that by putting on, I don't know, makeup to avoid your wrinkles and running every day to avoid old age, I actually don't think that sending forward "you shall die" is the way to go. Be excellent to each other and party on. The Bill and Ted answer. I've honestly never seen that. Never seen that movie about Bill and Ted. I know that Keanu Reeves is quite well regarded these days, and so maybe I should go see them. But yeah, I mean, I think there's one argument, and this is like my hot take answer. There's probably something to be said for passing on some universalistic conception, like something that gets humans past like a narrow sense of tribalism. Familial tribalism seems really important in the history of humanity, and also really important in any attempt to have a worthwhile society or a worthwhile kind of civilization together. Now, again, is it actually a better world to have, nationwide populations and international organizations and so on? I don't know. But I recognize, like, what I fall back on when thinking this question is, like, my naive childhood Christianity. Like, honestly, the first thing that came to mind when I heard this question, what one piece of knowledge you don't pass on, is like, okay, all men are brothers. And I realize it's sexist, it's an ideal that fails over and over again, but it really appeals to me as a starting place to get people and creatures to think beyond narrow tribalism. And that seems important to me. Is it the best, most important thing? I don't know. But I kind of like that kind of thing anyway. The answer's 42. I don't even know what that means. I mean, I think I'm not going to go into that today. Thank you for the comments to Douglas Adams. Everybody loves him, but that's how it goes. Exists, you have a commitment that knowledge is valueless if not socially situated. I agree. For me, it's John Dewey's thinking about the relationship between experimentalism, general inquiry, and the situation of society. So I want to take that seriously. Because I think there's a terrible realization, which is unless you stipulate that the future creatures would understand what you meant, understand the kinds of values present in inquiry and experimentalism and so on, maybe they wouldn't understand it, right? We have this sense of people in the past were just us wearing funny shoes, and people in the future will be just us with lasers and so on, and space packs. And reminded of Wittgenstein's great line, right? If the lions could speak, we wouldn't understand them. Yeah, like this thought that it may not be possible to pass along knowledge this way. You may have to go through the same kinds of steps that we've gone through to understand the kind of things that we do. And that's, on the one hand, a very sad claim. It's a very, very sad claim because it suggests that at some level we're alone in our histories. It's also a very empowering claim, though, because it means that, look, we did it. We as humans got to where we are today. And I find that super, super interesting. Many are suggesting maybe be kind or love one another. Yeah, I think when I said earlier, this kind of like universalistic conception, this is the kind of thing I have in mind. The kind of thing that I think is really important. I think when humans are at their best is when they find ways beyond just caring about family bonds and so on. But that's just me. And I think part of it is like, I'm a pretty shy person. I'm a person who very quickly goes to a disconnection towards not sharing my life with other people. And if we can believe and accept that we need to care for each other outside of narrow bonds, then there's a place for me too. And that seems important to me. I don't know. That doesn't seem realistic with human nature. I don't know what human nature means anymore. I don't know. I kind of want to move away from the question of human nature and towards the question of like human capabilities. Can humans be incredibly selfish and cruel and greedy? Yeah, they can. Can humans be incredibly generous and cooperative and helpful? Yeah, they can. So how do we build societies and education and structures that encourage more of the latter and less of the former? And I realize it's like a kind of refusal of traditional philosophical questions that, I don't know, the human nature question I just don't really vibe with anymore, in part because I don't know how we'd actually answer it. Right? I'm not sure how we'd answer it in terms of find some non-nurtured humans and see what they are, and are we all that way? Well, who knows? I think in my own culture, the human nature story that says we're rotten deep down inside, there's something fundamentally wrong with us, is just a continuation of the original sin story in the Christian narratives. Very Rorty to me? What do you mean? What do you mean there's the emphasis of Richard Rorty's thought here? You may be right. Yeah, Rorty's great claim is that there's nothing inside of us that we didn't put there ourselves. He doesn't necessarily mean this as far as it goes. He certainly believes that we have certain biological processes and so on. But yeah, I mean, sure. Am I deeply Rorty all the way through? I don't want to be, but I probably am. You need to realize that selfishness is part of yourself and learn to deal with it positively. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think I never want to take claims of human nature or claims of this is just how people are as a real conversation stopper. I think it's very, very easy to say that's just the way it is, whether about humans or about society or about world possibilities, etc. And the other day I was talking to my students about like exploitative labor around the world and what should our attitude towards that be. Like, if we want to say we're trying to be halfway decent people, is it enough just to acknowledge that's happening and then move on? And I had students say, is what it is. Can't change it. And I said, man, how defeating is that thought? Because at so many periods throughout history, there have been horrible things happening. Places where humans abused each other, took advantage of each other, acted in the worst possible ways. And had we all just said, that's the way it is, we'd be stuck there. And so I think for me, even though like constitutionally I'm not an optimistic person, I want to be so much. And I think for any kind of valuable social philosophy, you have to have some hope. If you don't have hope, I'm just not quite sure what we're doing here. It feels like we're just kind of circling the drain, and that's that. Anyway, those are a lot of ideas today. And I have to say, even though I'm not a big podcast listener, when there's a podcast like this that doesn't just tell a story, doesn't just say, like, here's a set of facts, but are instead, like, opening with a question, and then here's some other possible answers, and here's some ways to think beyond. I love that. I absolutely love that. And so here's things I've been thinking about. There's a lot more to say, but I can't spend the whole day on philosophy talk. I want a Star Trek Utopia. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what other goal you could want, honestly. Like the construction of human happiness and the rejection of scarcity for, rejection of scarcity for the benefit of us. Why wouldn't we want that? And of course, like the Star Trek universe still allows people to like have fights. There's still real disagreements and jealousy and all the rest, but they're not based on a lack of property, right? They're not based on a lack of recognition. When the Starfleet goes forward, they don't say, you are different and so you are my enemy. They instead begin with that moment of openness. And again, I think that's the best thing that we do, is the moment of openness that tries to see the stranger as friend. Now, of course, it is the case that opening oneself to the stranger as potential friend is also opening oneself to be harmed, right? It's saying, this person I do not know can get close to me, and I'll open myself to them. But I think that's the kind of risk we have to have a worthwhile experience of the world and worthwhile hope for the future. But again, I recognize this is all very, very, very Christian, and it's deep down inside of me, and I can't get rid of it. And so I have to believe in the overcoming of all division as we move ever further to universal salvation. That's how it goes. What podcast was this? Armored, it's this week's Radiolab podcast. Opens with a question about passing on knowledge towards the future. And it does not go in all the ways that I'm going, but it made me think these thoughts, and I like that a whole bunch. So, yeah, we're circling the drain together. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that, like somehow there's no ultimate meaning, there's no particular reason we're doing this. We're just here, but there are better and worse ways to be here together. I feel pretty strongly about that one. So, all right, I think we've done enough opening talk today. We've been live for about an hour. We could just keep going, but we're not in the Just Chatting directory, so I should respect that. We'll see. Hello, Trith. The tenets of being a good person aren't different regardless of what world religion you subscribe to. I mean, yeah. I had back to talking. I had an undergraduate religion professor who was a Catholic priest, a Jesuit priest, very, 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 very smart man, very open man. And he was a big fan of the different paths to one summit conception of religion. Now, I don't know enough about the history of religion or about the background of different religious theories and accounts to know if it's actually supported by texts. But his perspective was, if we convince people that their different, incredibly strongly held beliefs about value, etc., really do point to some common truth, some common source of value, we'll all be a lot better off. Now, I recognize for some people, people who are very ardent about their faith being exactly the correct one, which implies that all the other ones are not the correct ones, it's very hard for them to accept this as anything other than a kind of like watering down of faith. This professor, though, told this story about, it might be apocryphal, I'm not sure, about a missionary going to, a Christian missionary going to India, I believe, and speaking with a Hindu monk about the teachings of Jesus. And at the end of it, as they were sharing ideas back and forth, the missionary said, it seems like your important saintly figure in your tradition is a very good Christian. And the monk's response, apparently, it sounds like your Jesus was a very good Hindu. I think it's actually Buddhist now that I tell the story. And yeah, I think I want to be open to the possibilities of finding intercultural connections. I want the ironic gesture that brings together as opposed to drives apart. I had a period in my life when I was very anti-religion, right? When I thought religion was the greatest enemy to human progress, etc. But I rose up being a bit of an edgelord then, and so I now think it's a way in which people find meaning and connection, and I think that's perhaps also the good, though there are of course problematic instantiations. So yeah, that's a topic we should do more about. right? Wish I knew more about religion, because obviously it's very important. People help people to organize their lives, to make sense of what matters to them, and yeah, I just want to know more and more about how people think about themselves, how people think about what matters to them. It's pretty good. In your position, faith may give more harm in practice. I mean, yeah, I think that the sentiment that I probably most glom onto in sort of anti-religionist view is if people are overly focused on the hereafter, if they're willing to accept certain limitations on the present situation because they'll get their great reward someday, and that maybe is very dangerous. It causes people to accept oppression, etc., etc. Beyond that, there's also the sense that a lot of religions are sort of anti-human possibility. That puts forward like kind of narrow conceptual and ethical models that say either you shave yourselves down to cohere with how we want you to be, or you're just evil, right? And I think that that's part of some religious contexts I have a very, very hard time with understanding. And so the professor I'm mentioning here tried really hard to sort of shave off the edges of various religions. He claimed that many religions go through different like life stages. And I don't know if this is true at all, but as religions mature, they find more and more ways of responding to humans as they are, as opposed to what humans they want to be, or humans they prefer to create. And I don't know if it's true, but I think it's an idea I like. Love's the best religion. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that. I think the hard thing, of course, is what does it mean to love? Yeah, like the parent who loves the child sets strong rules. The parent who loves the child is willing to say no to the child out of protection and love and desire for their goodness. When I think love, of course, I want it to be open and affirming and respectful and appreciative of the person and their individuality, but parents don't do that, right? Parents don't say, hey, Timmy, if you want to run into the streets, feel free. Instead, there's actually a restriction on the child, again, out of love. And so, yeah, I was thinking about love a lot last night, actually. One of my students, the one I've mentioned before, who's from the UAE, has been talking about what love means in her culture. And she thinks that in the UAE, love means primarily restriction and obedience. And how sad she's about that she hadn't... Because in class on Wednesday or on Monday, we discussed conceptions of love and how people learn about love from entertainment and parents and so on. And so a lot of my students, when I asked them for a love story to talk about, had these stories about princesses and heroes and damsels in distress, and that's what love is. They, of course, brought up the old popular Romeo and Juliet, the greatest love story ever told about love overcoming all disagreement, love overcoming one's narrow familial views, love being worth dying over, etc., etc. The question, of course, with Romeo and Juliet is always, how old were those characters? Romeo 16, Juliet 13. This is a story about teenage infatuation, not about love at all. Anyway, as the students were talking about different conceptions of love, my student from the UAE said she had never actually thought the question of what it means to be loved. She only ever thought about what it is to love somebody else. And she said as a woman from the culture in the UAE, it felt like obedience is what it is to love. Doing what you're told to do. And so, we... she sent me an email about this, and I wrote back to her about a little book called The Art of Loving, written by the German psychologist Erich Fromm. And for me, it's been such a great book to try to understand different forms and conceptions of love that are present in Western cultures. And he talks about kind of the egoistic story that propels a lot of loving relationships, where we say, look, the most important kind of love is this two-person story about the two become one, and this is the kind of love you need to feel good about yourself. And I think this kind of model of loving, which says I'm incomplete until I find another, is, obviously popular throughout the years. Plato tells a story about this, that humans were once one big creature with two faces and all the genitals, and they moved around by doing cartwheels. And at some point the gods got angry with them and split them in half, and then people walk separately, trying to find a way back together again. I think this kind of narrative, which again says like there's something wrong with you from the beginning until you get reattached, is so destructive. And I think historically it's been destructive for women especially, right? That women are a property or, are some kind of creature that needs to be healed by being put into a relationship. But I think it's destructive for men people also. I think the incel movement, which says, if I can't find a partner, I am nothing, and so I hate the world, are saying the same thing. Without a certain kind of like paired love, you're incomplete and not quite good enough. So Fromm's book is about trying to find other forms of love that should be, in his view, informed by love of humanity generally. If you say, in this person before me, I love them because of their ideas, their body, etc., this sort of conception of many forms of love, should you be able to push past this, what he calls egotisme à deux, right? This two-person egotism. And it's a great book, so a little dated now, but Erich Fromm, 2 thumbs up for sure. Servant leadership talked about love as Greek word agape. Yeah. English has the problem of having the one word love, and then we have like and like. But we don't have lots of ways of talking about, brotherly love, love between an individual and an ideal, love that's impersonal, etc., etc., etc. And so, I wish we knew how to think about more kinds of love and saw them as equally valuable to the romantic kind that motivates so many folks. So, I don't know. I feel a little bad when the Stellaris directory still. I'm sure people are clicking in like, where are my spaceships? Show me the alliances. You love ice cream, but it's Fowler Strangler against you. Oh, silly pseudonym, I'm sorry. Hopefully you and ice cream can get back together again real soon. Yeah, because it is the case that... Is this true? I think it's true. At least in English, and in American culture primarily, we simultaneously don't use the word love in enough ways, while also using it in way too many ways all at once. The thought that, just to tease, right, that one loves ice cream the same way one could love a person or love an ideal, it just seems ridiculous. And obviously, things like Facebook or Twitter, you love this or that because you put your little heart on it and you love it. And I think the ways in which words expand in meaning and retract in meaning are really interesting, but are also potentially dangerous if we don't notice it happening as it goes. I don't know. I feel like I've gone in many directions now. I've kind of lost the centerpiece of what I was talking about. My student for the UAE, that's right. Someone asked the question of, will she return to the UAE? And she says no. She says she's unwilling to go back to the UAE. That said, she's 20 years old, and so financially dependent on her parents. I think she's someone who hopes that the college degree, the college experience will put her in a good enough position to be able to find work and independence. And if she can get that, I think she'll be very, very happy. And she's someone I just want to see flourish. Like, I will the good for all of my students, but one like this, different way of putting it. There are many students who I know are going to be just fine, right? When we're done with college, there are many students who have networks of support, who know what they want to do with themselves, etc., etc. But a student like this, I think this is one of those moments where the college experience might really, really, really matter. Because if she doesn't pull off the college experience and find a way to integrate herself into a liberal Western society, she'll go back to the UAE. And in the UAE, she's going to have this sense of being owned by her father again. This sense of of not having independent existence. And so I never want to say like, college is for everyone or anything, but I think for her it's so important. She's a second year right now, and the class she's taking with me is the only one that I'm going to get with her, but I'm going to follow her with great interest because I hope she finds a good life. I hope she does not return to a society that she reads as being fundamentally oppressive of her individuality and her experience. And it's strange because at my last school, I had a student from Iran, a student who was from the upper class, the intellectual class of Iran. And his great desire was to go to the US to learn liberal theory and then to go back to Iran to try to spark a new revolution. And like on the one hand, the arrogance. Can you even imagine? But it's so interesting. Like the male perspective is return and modify. For my student, the female perspective is never go back, find freedom. And I wonder if I said to her, I think you should go back and try to change the society. What she'd say. Would she say that it's just not possible? Or that's not my job? Or wherever else? I think that's I think it's a hard question that I've never really thought about before now, because I tend to have this sort of reactionary sense that says, or not reactionary, revolutionary sense says, if something's messed up, push back against it. If something's messed up, find a way to challenge it. But the level of a state, that's a big deal. Big deal, I don't know. If only the U.S. were a place to learn liberal values, I don't think that's fair. I think compared to various more restrictive nations in the world, the U.S. is doing just fine. We believe in something like equality. We put forward property ownership for everybody. Your vote matters, etc., etc., etc. I think we're not maximally liberal in any sense, but I think we're doing so much better. When I say us, I live in Japan, of course, but I think I don't want to let the perfect be the enemy of the good. I think the respect for the individual person is really, really, really important. And I think the U.S. does a better job of that than many other places. And so my student from Iran at least experienced himself as learning liberal values, experienced himself as learning how to talk about the equality of humans, taking on a Lockean narrative. And I'm not a Lockean. I think he has certain problematic assumptions about how property works, and also about how individuals are constituted and should understand themselves. But even though it feels like the U.S. is not great, it's still empowering someone from far away. Mary Wollstonecraft, the person I was teaching on Monday, she's from the 1750s, 1750s. She ended up writing in the 1770s, I believe. And her thought is outmoded, right? It's heteronormative. It assumes two genders, male and female. It assumes a kind of natural hierarchy in some respects. But to a person who's from a restrictive culture where women are seen as property still, it feels like the most up-to-date and amazing thing ever. And I want to respect that. I want to say, how cool is it that a person can learn things from people who are unsure about themselves still? I don't know. I think people in the U.S. and worldwide we're on a trajectory we're towards, not their current point. Sure. I don't know enough about the great trends of history. I think that one can make certain comments about authoritarianism and fascism and all the rest that may be true. I don't know. But I'm just glad at the individual level that these two students of mine have read texts that most of my students consider profoundly boring, and they've liberated the students from a certain very restrictive sense of things. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to say here. I'm not articulating myself terribly well. I'm just happy for my students. That's all it is. That's all it is. The great trend of history is that societies do not learn from the great trend of history. I think you're right. I think it's a mistake to assume any kind of trajectory to history. I think we can put cute narratives on the rise and fall or progressivism or who knows what. I'm just happy for my students. That's that. The worry is maybe they become alienated by the newfound individual freedom. Yeah. I mean, in the case of my female student from the UAE, she was definitely going to be breaking up with her family if she talks this way. Uh, she told me on Monday that she tells her parents that she has no male teachers. She tells her parents that she intentionally takes class with only women teachers. She intentionally tells her parents that she does not speak to any male friends. She only has female friends here. Which say she's lying, right? She's fundamentally lying to her parents to make them feel a little bit more okay about her faraway education. And I don't feel good about that, right? I don't want to encourage lying in anybody, but I understand why she does this. I understand why she does it for sure. And so I hope she finds herself in a position where she's able to acknowledge the values that matter to her, whatever that means, and to affirm herself in a way that is productive for herself. Now, how awesome would it be if she could talk to her father and change his mind? And, I asked her on Monday, do you think your mother's happy? Her mother who grew up in the UAE and has lived this life of repression all the way through, what I'd call repression. And my student said, I don't think it comes to her mind whether it could be any other way. Like, she has this really strong block on non-Muslim society in particular being absolutely decadent, absolutely fallen, absolutely immoral, to the point that you just have to accept that you're doing things the right way because it's the way you're doing them. And somebody who teaches philosophy, I want to question that, but I wonder if that's also a way of just surviving and tolerating a society that really says that you're an inferior kind of human. I'm so sad, I guess, for people who live their lives thinking about that, or thinking of themselves in those ways. But we're used to tolerating a lot of things, I suppose. Yeah. So that's a new kind of student for me. I never before had a student who's from the UAE, and that's one thing I like about teaching at this international school, is I do get students with such radically different backgrounds. When I was teaching in the Midwest US, most of my students were from the Midwest US, and I understood them. I knew what they cared about. I knew what kind of values and references and ideas they had. And it was so easy. It was so easy to point to them and say, here, have you thought about this? But with students from other places in the world, I often don't quite know what they need from me. I don't quite know which kind of ideas I can share with them to be most beneficial. And that, for me, makes my classes a little bit more difficult to teach. Because this is one version. My American students tend to say, like, equality, done, no problems. We all believe in equality. And then my little Japanese students, I say little Japanese students, right? My very quiet Japanese students, women especially, will raise their hands and say, my boss gropes me. And when I go to HR, they say that is the way things are done here. And oh my goodness, how do you find a way to teach both of those students at once, right? The one who says, no problems, thank you. And the other says, like, there's real concrete moments of what seem like obvious harassment and diminution of a person's value. And then when you go to the mediating agency, the state, they say, yep, that's how it's done. Ugh, I don't know, it feels gross. What if not questioning's a happier life? Oh boy. Yeah, what's Kurt Vonnegut's great line? Plato tells us the unexamined life's not worth living. But what happens if the examined one ends up being a clunker too? Yeah. I mean, the ignorance is bliss line is not lost on me. And I'm not sure I have a great answer, other than I find accepting things without questioning them, without wondering about them, very, very hard to tolerate. And I'm not sure if it's just because I'm an American, and Americans are a revolutionary people, or if I think it's something about like the human spirit. I mean, that even use the language of the human spirit is so terrible. so terrible. It assumes so much. But yeah, I hope it's the case that humans want to understand the world they're in, and part of that understanding is questioning their social relationships. And even if there's a questioning that makes sadness, a lack of happiness, is there a way to go past that, right? To synthesize the present situation and the ideal of freedom or something that moves us collectively somewhere better. Again, if we can't believe that, I'm not sure why. One day I want to write a story where the characters are genuinely happy, and local optimum of happiness would be not be improved by questioning. Yeah, exists. Do you know Ursula Le Guin's short story, The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas? If you don't know this one, the basic storyline is there's a utopia. There's a place where people are very, very happy, and all of it is based on the suffering of a child. And yeah, people are aware of the child, but intentionally ignore the child for the sake of maintaining their happiness. And I talk to my students about this, right? I raise the question of shouldn't they pay attention to the suffering on which their society is based? And my students will often say, no, most people are happy here. Why would you want to change that? And I understand the utilitarian reasoning, but some like human rights part of me cries out and announces, no, if there's injustice, we must root it out. But I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure if that's true. I don't know. But I think for me, the philosophical tradition begins with the question of unexamined life and stays all the way through. You find it too artificial. What if no child, just utopia? Yeah. I think it's the case that Le Guin suggests any utopia that does not have the moment of suffering, we find suspicious. We find it a kind of unearned happiness, a kind of happiness without a ground. And so that's why she includes the terrible secret of own losses to make it convincing again. I don't know, like this is the great hope of heaven, right? The great hope of heaven is it's the place where there's pure happiness and contemplation with no downside. And I find that super interesting. I find that super, super interesting. Like, do we find it horrible if there's no use in questioning? I don't know. I mean, what Aristotle tells us is the important thing humans do is the ability to reason, to engage, and to question. And so if we don't get that utility anymore, is that sad? Is something missing there? Yeah, there are too many topics in my head right now. I'm actually losing the ability to focus on anything because I'm pulling myself in all the directions. This is why when I teach, I have an outline. I do not teach from notes. I do not have notes. I have just one single outline, and then I drag myself back to the outline over and over and over again. If not, man, there's so many fun questions that come along. And yeah, I see many of you are talking about the way in which equality is not achieved in the U.S. I totally agree. 100%. The word equality is a super slippery word, but sure, yeah, absolutely. There's still all kinds of oppression, all kinds of lack of respect and acknowledgement of autonomy, etc., etc., etc. I just mean to say, for a person who is being dominated by patriarchy directly, that says you can't own property, you can't vote, etc., it feels a heck of a lot freer than what they're going through. Maybe that's fair, maybe that's not. I'm not a rah booster for any nation, I promise, but we'll see. Doing a stream outline? We probably do. Probably need I think when I do my weekend roundups, when I have pictures to share with you, that's a way of really narrowing down what I'm going to talk about. That said, I wasn't planning to talk about this today, right? The issue with having a stream outline is then the conversation is very tightly controlled around what I want to talk about before we start. But yeah, maybe I'll start making outlines for stream. And if you all raise questions I didn't plan for, I'll say, whoa, that's not part of this class reading. Maybe we can talk about that at the end, if there's still time. Maroney, you'd like to be my class? Thank you for that. I keep saying I'll eventually record a video of the way in which I teach. That's scary, though. Honestly, I'm more nervous about that than sharing anything else about me. Because like I said before, my teaching is probably the thing I care most about. And yeah. If I were to get like the wrong kind of feedback on it, it might break my little heart a little bit. We'll see. You love to see the video? Yeah. We'll see. For now, though, an ad break is coming in 15 seconds, and so I need to take my ad break and refocus, and the best way of refocusing is crosswords! Crosswords! Very good. Nathan, your upcoming second-year teacher, you love some tips. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a quick and dirty... Yeah, I don't have a quick and dirty, like, one-word sentence, or one-sentence idea of how to be a good teacher. The philosopher Charles Peirce says the number one rule of being a writer is to really and truly love your readers, by which he means attempt to always understand the reader's perspective and try to address the concerns that would matter for them and explain them in a way that would matter for them. And I think for me that is part of it. I'm never going to tell my students, "Hello, students, I love you," because it seems cheesy and childish. But I think part of teaching well is a sense of like profound care for the people who are there. Your golden rule is teach the students you have, not students you want. Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly right. When I was a new teacher, I gave assignments based on who I am and what I could do back when I was an undergraduate. And I realized that I'm a fundamentally weird student. The vast majority of my students do not go on to grad school. The vast majority of my students have very complex lives in which they care about school, but they care about lots of other things too. And so, yeah, you try to meet the students you have and teach the best you can for the majority of them. And I know I can't reach every student, and I can't do well with every student. And yeah, I try it though. And I think unfortunately some faculty do have the sense of, I will present the way this class should be, and either you rise to it or you fail. And I think that's so alienating to a lot of students, and it has a certain conception of elitism behind it that I just don't think is useful anymore, if ever it was. Who knows? Learn the difference between what makes a love teacher and a good teacher. Oh, sure. Yeah, I think there's a way of being popular that is destructive of education. It's the teacher who says yes, right about everything, who does not push and challenge, who doesn't care enough about their subject matter to value it along with valuing what the students are getting out of it. There's a standard joke about on the day of student-teacher evaluations, on the day when the students get to say how well you've done, that's the day you bring donuts, because on that day, you want them to love you, not merely have learned something. And I don't do that here. I don't do that here because the students have such wildly different desires for what food they want, and it's impossible to reach any kind of consensus. So instead I just say, please be honest, and that's good enough. All right, must lock down. Here we go. They can help with meeting firm deadlines. Oh, the word firm here may be referring to law firms. So the word paralegal are people who help with meeting firm deadlines. Like legal assistants, maybe? I don't know if that's actually a thing. This is a real word, but okay. Legal assistants help with meeting firm deadlines. Cool. Actor studi, it could be less studi, but I have no idea. Breakfast beverages. Oh, OJs, orange juices. Important piece for etc. It might be the king. The king is important, so sure. What rotten? And see? Infamous lock. It is indeed Loch Ness. And so, yeah. Not in mint condition is worn. All right, French speakers, what's this? Le jeu d'eche. I don't know how to do the vowels. It's L-E space J-E-U space D, apostrophe thing, E with that grave. Is that grave possibly? C-H-E-C-S. It's chess. Oh, this is chess. The king is an important part of the chess. That's good. All right, very good. Thank you. Yeah, I knew the king part. I didn't know this. Oh, piece. I was thinking piece meaning like an element of a system as opposed to literally a chess piece. Thank you, team. Reason to crack a window. Standing air, stale air seems very likely. Person been swayed. I mean, convict comes to mind as not right. Cracks. Not sure. Suspicious, probably leery. Tire. To get worn out. The rolly things. Get delivery. Get delivery. Delivery here could be about babies. To receive, not sure. Suggest is a conclusion. It could be like point at. I don't like that at all, but maybe. A film technique that frames a pair of characters. I think it's like tight something. The only 2 letters, not so sure. Not sure. Sorry, filmmakers. A clean cut. Possibly a haircut, who knows? Nigerian uprising of 1929. There are many things I do not know, and this is one of them. Extremely flimsy, not sure. Fig affected by stops. This could be like estimated time of arrival. Like as the bus stops and more people get on and get off, your estimated time of arrival changes. We'll see if that's right. We'll see. Axix, thank you for the continuing subscription. And that tier 2 sub, 1-2. I appreciate that 1-2 times. That makes sense. Axix, thank you for your kindness all the way through, helping us keep the stream going. Went overboard. Could be literally to find oneself in the drink. Could also mean to do things to an excessive amount, possibly. Prominent part of a male fiddler crab. So I know that some crustaceans have like one big smashing claw and then one fine work claw. I don't know if males in particulars have that. So what does C work here? Blank beans, aka cowboy beans. I do not know. I mean, anytime I've seen cowboy eating out on the range, they're eating baked beans of some sort, I believe. I don't know. A giddy feeling, probably elation. Euphoria would also work there. Euphoria. Elation seems right then. Candy bowl instructions. Take one, you jerk. Some years back, one of my neighbors put out a candy bowl that said take one and had it sitting on top of a skeleton, which is meant to be spooky. And then some kids went up and took more than one, and it turns out that spooky skeleton was the homeowner. And so anytime a kid took more than one, he'd go, roar, and the kids would freak out. And that's how they'd learn about the wages of sin. Claw does seem right here. Very good. I could never do that. I could never, ever intentionally scare children, but that was something. Some nobles, maybe earls or something. We'll see. Let me go ahead and just do 2 more, and then we'll call it good for now. It can't be castor beans. You don't eat castor beans, do you? No idea. Given. Take is given. Assume. Not sure. Anyway, very good team. Some nice progress. I think now, for the first time today, I'm going to get my tie on and move over to video game o'clock. It's been a lot of fun talking today. Thank you for hanging out and doing so. Thank you for sharing some hours here, experiencing what it is to be inside my head. I promise next time I'll try to come with a clearer outline of what I want to talk about. So let me go ahead and put away the piano music and get out here some Stellaris music instead. Now you may be looking at the screen right now. Maybe looking at the screen and saying, Resorti, it looks like your empire is in absolute decay. It looks like your empire may be unsalvageable. Right you are. Right you are. It's pretty bad. And I'm not sure we can save it. But I'm gonna try. Hey, Old Gru, if you can make a sector, please demonstrate. Yeah, here's how you make a sector. You need to have a planet, do you believe? So you go to the planets, and then there's a button right here. They'll say create sector. As of right now, it says add sector. I mean, if I destroy this sector, can I remake it right away? Any resources in a local stockpile be transferred elsewhere. It's not very dangerous to delete a sector. A new one can be just as easily created. Here's how you do it. Destroy this, yes, and then create new sector, bingo bango, and it's back. There you go. And then creating that sector gives you access to the planet and sector page where you can put yourself a lovely little governor there. The Civil War has not been won. Yeah, we lost it. We lost it for the dumbest possible reason. So I don't know how war score works in this game. And for some reason, we were up at like 60% war score, even though we were winning the Civil War so tremendously, overwhelmingly. And so we chased the big fleet of the Civil War down to here. And we defeated them, and that was awesome. And so the majority of my fleet was down this way, gradually moving its way back up to the middle. Simultaneously, a smaller fleet was up this way, fighting to take back our territory. So it was not a huge fleet, but it was enough of a fleet to fight its way through here. As the fleet was fighting its way through here, a place that has 2 planets, and we're taking them over and so on, the fleet from the bottom, which had emergency FTL jumped out, reappeared up here with enough force to defeat the fleets that were here, and that pushed me immediately to 100% war score against me. And that's how we lost the Civil War, and I want to say shenanigans. Shenanigans! Now, it's possibly the case, had I been thinking a little bit more, I would have moved the fleet up faster. There was also another fleet waiting over here that I didn't think we needed. But yeah, I think that the long and short of that story is I don't really understand how war score works in this game. And that's very annoying. Now, with that said, our truce with the misbegotten planets, those who would dare leave us, have, or would expire. The truce expires in about 2 years' time. So if we can keep this thing going for 2 more years, if we're able to get into the war there and take our land back, that will fix all the problems. They have some very valuable factory planets and cash money planets. The question is just, can we survive for long enough? Did they have taken war score over holding some planets? Possibly. But it really did go from like 60% war score to 100% in just one battle because my fleet was jumped on by emergency FTL. So that's how it goes. Hey, silly. War's one of the more complex aspects of the game. You certainly do not have a great handle after 1,800 hours. Yeah. I don't want to say that war in this game is unnecessarily complex, but then I've played my, about 200 hours so far, and I don't quite understand what's happening still. It is not exactly a vote for Paradox in this case, because I think I'm someone who is ready to learn hard things, but it's just weird. And like I said yesterday, I expect part of it is the attempt to make it so you can't take over enemy enemy empires all at once. You have to fight through a little more slowly, but it's just really confusing for me, especially in a case like this where I think we're winning. It's just very weird. The scoring system is quite obtuse. Empress, that's my sense also. All right, let me go and grab a jacket also. We're blue and orange today. Oh, I forgot to mention the happiest of news. Earlier today, I came into the streaming room, and for the first time in genuinely months, all of the sound panels across all the walls are still up. My friends, we did it. We did the DIY, finding better ways to affix the tiles to the walls, to the ceilings, and they're all still up. Thank you. Thank you for the good work. How'd we do it? With magnets? No. The ceiling does not have any magnetism to the best of my ability. The walls do have magnetism, but only irregularly. We did it this way. So we have 3M contact strips that are on the ceiling itself, and they pull off with no problems. We then took staples to attach pieces of cardboard onto the foam panels, and then the foam grabbers, contact strips are affixed to the cardboard. And I think this will work. So it's wall or ceiling, contact strips, cardboard, foam. Cardboard attached with staples. Yes. If you missed yesterday's intro, there's a very long segment me explaining how I figured out how staplers work. I'm very proud of today's intro section. It was a fun conversation. I am not proud at all, at all of what I told you all about stapler usage yesterday. Namely, I know how it works. Hello, Lord of Great Stroke. Why am I wearing a tie with a short sleeve shirt? A proper one shouldn't have a button up. Hello, my name is Resorty. Propriety is not exactly high on my list of things. So I get very, very hot while streaming. I blather on and move around a lot and begin to sweat. And then viewers say, Resorty, why are you sweating? And I say, I'm a human. I don't want to be a human anymore. And they say, Resorty, the afterlife will save you, etc. And so I intentionally wear short sleeve shirts to stay a little bit cooler while streaming. Now that said, if I had the jacket and tie on as stream started, you wouldn't know. It'd be secrets. But no, I never wear ties outside of this room. I never wear jackets outside of this room except for like the rare date night. And so, yeah, after stream's done, I'll take the tie off and the jacket off and then go teach in the short sleeve shirt. But there you go. A little bit behind the scenes. Now, I don't mean to break your heart. But what kind of pants do you think I'm wearing? Like, do you think I'm wearing the proper pants for this outfit? I don't want to break your immersion, etc. But no, no, I'm not. Alright, very good. Alright, we need to think through a couple things here. So we have an idle leader right now. That is because what? So, one of my admirals does not have a job right now. I know I combined a bunch of fleets. That was one of the big moves yesterday. And so we have 3 full fleets. And this one has no leader for a reason I do not know. So I'm going to move you into that position. Good. Wait, I'm wearing pants? Who knows? Okay, so as of right now, we are holding all of the territory of the Brown Empire here and here. This was maddening. This little sector here, or system here, we took over and someone else got it. And I don't know why that is. They may have come in and done like the final shot against the station, but definitely I did 95% of the damage there. And it may be because of claims. We discussed this last time, and I'm not quite sure how it works, but we have on this one, which is Fijion, we have 2 claims. The Saramo have 1 claims. So I thought the more claims you spent, the more it was to be yours. Now, is that only at the end of the battle? Or should it have gone through earlier? I just don't know. What traits does the caretaker have? You haven't seen him before. Yeah, this is a really cool governor. Our chairman of the mines there, 740 years old, absolutely immortal. Is a governor class, is a pioneer, so bonus to population growth speed. Has a destiny trait of living forever, while on the council gives more population growth speed and lowers the good consumption. That is great. Number 2, gives more housing, more amenities. And number 3, intellectual. Really nice research improvement. So very, very excited to use this character on our research planets, if we can survive until we get them set back up. They land an army forming on the planet. I'm relatively sure there is no planet? Yeah, there is no planet here. Claims to be carried out at the end of the war. Ambrose, thank you. Thank you for that good bit of advice. Hopefully that's true. Now, in Ray, the war. So, as I said, everything here is controlled. The claims that we have are all in these territories. I believe there's 1 or 2 territories here that are not yet claimed that I'd like to go ahead and grab. But I'm not entirely sure what more I need to do to push war exhaustion in their direction. I only need 36 more points, so not a lot more. So if we go ahead and take over Fijan, demanding an unoccupied system, Fijan. So again, the one right here that I'm nearly certain I did the majority of the work is causing us not to end the war right now. So that's slightly annoying. Ailgrew. This made the case for more DLC buys. The Stellaris sale continues. Stellaris sale, it's hard to say. Yes, go forth and buy DLC. Cause the Paradox stock to go up. Thank you. Alright, so that's annoying. What we need to do then, I'm guessing, to actually end this war, is go do some damage to them inside of the remaining territory. Now, I don't know if our borders are open to get here. There's not. There's not. Is it possible I'm gonna lose this war? Because even though I hold everything, and I believe I've taken over all their planets here? Have we? Alright, so this is ours, that's good. I can't go and do anything else. No planets there. No planet there. That's not theirs. No planet there. Down to here. Honestly, I'm not sure what more I can do. Like, really and sincerely, honestly, I do not know what else is possible to do here. I know there are no planets here. So, do we just wait and hope for the best? Or what? Color Starling tells you to access them. Oh, I'm not sure I've ever seen that before. Or I never noticed that orange means it's forbidden. That's good to know. So, yeah, I don't have a way to get into this territory here. What I need to do, like I said, more importantly than winning or losing this war, is making sure the Empire does not collapse due to finances. Have researched jump technologies? I don't think so yet, unfortunately. We can look in a moment. I need to stop spending so much money. And the number one source of money we're spending right now is all of our fleet is undocked. If we get docked again, that will be a very, very, very good thing. So, like I said, the other thing I could do is just start destroying ships, but I'd like to keep our fleet size up if we can. So, is there a go to nearest territory? Return goes to home base. Is this the nearest one? If I pull up the economy map, we could probably see. Yeah, so for this ship, this is the nearest. This ship, go home also. Has there been research to improve the economy? Oh yeah, and we've taken them as we can. So the issue is our economy was just fine until we lost the Civil War. And so I just need to win the turret back and we'll be fine again. To move jobs around, that is a possibility also, is try to push people into goods production and energy production also. And I'm not sure how it will go. We'll see. Piracy is happening in Light's End, which is down here. I'm just going to send a fleet there to sit on it. I have a single ship, the Fallen Stratum here. I'll move it there to try to stop the piracy. Okay. Things we can do. So I want to look at edicts first. I know I've turned off all the wartime edicts. So fleet supremacy, ships cost more. Ships build faster. We don't want that right now. We need to cheapen the fleet. Capacity subsidies. Energy folks create more energy, but also consume more energy. So assuming we have a sufficient number of technicians, this is definitely a good thing. The one energy planet I have that's like focused on technicians entirely, we no longer have. So it's actually maybe costing us more than it's getting us, I'm not sure. Information quarantine, costs upkeep, gives us stability, fine. All good, all good. And I don't think anything else here will help us currently. Yeah. Okay. I want to unpause for a brief moment to see how that changes our stats and such, but I don't want to run out of either consumer goods or energy credits. So once more, to the marketplace, where I'm going to immediately sell, gosh, a pile of alloys. Oh, it's so little money. It's only 1 month of money for that. And like I said before, we've really burned down our economy for the sake of maintaining function right now. Trade price too low. Okay. Is the artifact thing usable again? Or I think we've used it recently, unfortunately. Sub-product collectors, still on cooldown apparently. Is there diplomatic stance policy that could help? I'm not sure, honestly. Let's check and see on that. So diplomatic stance, I believe, is government policy. We're expansionist. Okay. So expansionist is not going to help. Mercantile, get greater trade value, good trade protection. We have to have merchant guilds, we don't have that. Supremacist, we have larger navy, but nothing helps here at all currently. Belligerence, cheaper claims could be useful for getting us out of things more quickly. Get out of the war more quickly. Cooperative does not help. Isolationist does not help. So I think nothing helps there. I think I'm going to pull back on consumer goods for our population. So here are the rights of the us. Living standards, I'm going to take off of academic privilege. It'll slow our research, but that's a-okay. Okay, pops have plus 10% happiness unless there's consumer goods shortage. If we go to that, if that didn't consume 0.5 less upkeep for specialists, I believe. Yeah, it gives more to slaves, but we don't need that. So this will give us a little bit of savings each month. Cool. Zombie X0. I'm sure I said your name wrong, but thanks for the follow. Welcome, welcome. That should help a tiny little bit. Tiny little bit. We'll move it back once the economy's fixed. Alright, we're now going to see the person not working. It's our heir, our useless heir. We don't have another sector to put him inside of right now, I'm fairly sure. So they could just sit on the side and do very little. Or we could fire the extra governor we have and move our heir there. But I believe that governors only cost us, influence. There's no actual money being consumed. Good. Get rid of that for now. Running out of everything. So these situations are being resolved. Our energy shortage and consumer goods shortage are going down gradually. That will be good. The Cyberx module would help a lot. Look for some high energy production. Yeah, the only issue is, do I have what's necessary to create the Cyberx module without collapsing the economy entirely? And that I am not sure about. Okay. This is the great unpausing just to see how numbers change. Negative 92, negative 121. And we're full of minor artifacts. Gotta find some way to spend these. We do know Elgate inside, apparently. Cool. Cool. I think we have a museum exhibit happening here. We don't actually. So we'll send a museum to our capital once again. Boop. Okay. Has not updated yet. I have unconnected trade networks. Oh, do I? Oh, good eye. I do indeed have a bunch of unconnected trade networks. I wonder how that happened. Maybe with the earlier piracy. Okay, so where do I have unconnected trade? I hate this menu so much, or this overview so much. If there's some trade out here we could fetch. I'd be easier seeing the outliner. Okay. Trade such and so. There we go. The Yata station's unconnected. Thank you for noticing that. It's because this broke off before. The Civil War broke it off. So how do I now connect you again? So you click on this, and this. Those are both unconnected, actually. So here to nearest connected one. Boop. I did not do it. How do you connect it again? Oh, right click. Not left click, right click. There we go. There we go. And the same thing here. Clicky here. Are we better now? And while the Crusaders up this way, unconnected also. Maybe it's not unconnected. Oh, piracy is consuming it. Yeah, we're moving a ship down to help with that. I think I've already built up all we can build up here to stop the piracy. Yeah, unless I want to get rid of the shipyard, I prefer not to. There's more unconnected. All right, well, Collider's unconnected also. Thanks for noticing that. So they're all getting here, but not actually connected to anything. I'm not sure which is a better way to go, if it actually matters at all. Okay, I believe everything's reconnected. Behold, the economy! Behold? Please update? I don't want to go top speed to update. Oh, it updated. We're still negative 92 on consumer goods. We're only negative 104. So it's been a big improvement on that side. Alright, time for more selling. What do you believe, friends? Do you believe we'll be able to fix the economy before riots destroy absolutely everything? Got some concerns here. Sell another pile of alloys. Buying some consumer goods. Oh boy. It's the first of the month that updates. That makes sense. Cool. Under control for one more month. Am I already in civilian economy? I am. I am in civilian economy all the way, unfortunately. We'll check and make sure on that one. Economic policy is civilian all the way. So yeah, we are making as much consumer goods as we can. The problem is that we lost our factory planets. Let's run through and see if there are any more jobs to assign. 15 open jobs. 7 open jobs. Yeah, we can start turning off things like the police force and have people move over to industry instead. Yeah, our Ford World. Oh, I put the Ford World over to consumer goods instead. The factory instead of the forge. That will help a tiny little bit. And we actually need more amenities here. So I don't want to build anything right now. No building, only destroying. This is our one generator world. Has a lot of open jobs still, unfortunately. Planet of Ice. You're a forge world. That should be a factory world instead. We're not going to produce any allies at all. 10 jobs. 5 jobs. 5 jobs. There's 2 I want to improve. Could we peace out of the status quo and not take the planet unoccupied? Yeah. Yes, we definitely could go status quo. If we do this, we claim... Well, status quo says, war goals disregarded, both sides seize occupied claims. So, I don't have a claim here yet on some of this. I guess I wouldn't get this bit, but we would get some planets. Now, do I actually want planets? I don't know. I don't know if I want planets. They'll cause further problems on the old economy. Let's see. Claims I'm missing. So I put more claims if I want to. We don't need that. I have... That's in their territory. Fellis is on... Oh, I'm looking at the wrong territory, sorry. This one's unclaimed. We need 129 more. This unclaimed, we need 167 more. So we could let them keep both of these for now. This one's not super important, as it doesn't connect to anything. This one I sure would like, because it dead ends nicely here. Now, as you see, this also dead ends. We'll end the war if we can. Hope there's a way I think it does. Settle that status quo. Freedom from conflict. Speaking of conflict, a new contact also. The United Anthurian Autocracy. They've been listening in. Turtle! Turtle! We hate you. Also, the Q-Faz Autocracy. Oh, look at them. Look at their cutiness. Bring greetings from the Grand Marshal Basil Bloom. You're a militarist, materialist. We hate you. And then the Rexicodium Alignment. So all at once we met absolutely everybody. They're hegemonic imperialists. Very strange plant creatures. You will not grow in the cracks between our rocks. Respect our authority. So all at once, we learned about a bunch of other folks that are over here. I don't know how we learned about them. But as I said early, I think we got very, very lucky with our early placement. There's nobody else over here. They're all piled together over here. All right. Get me out of this war. As much as we hate to see you escape unpunished, we hope your miserable corporites have at least learned to stay to our business. Coprolites, that is dried feces. We accept it. Alright, so we got some territories. They did get to keep this, even though I had more claims. Not quite sure how that worked. But good. Good. The planet Glump, which is an absolute mess here, has no open jobs at all. I want to look through the new planets in a moment. You'll be aware, perhaps, that we have a policy where only rock people can have jobs. We don't directly exterminate non-rock people. We just let them starve to death instead. I liked it a lot. Alright, so we picked up 3 new planets. Glump, Ugudash, and Glumplog. So Glumplog has 1 population, 3 open jobs. And the pop here is Stelami, a mushroom person. We'll drive out soon enough. So you have luxuries to figure that out. To help them do well. This is a big tropical world. It also has some crystalline caverns. And there are more jungles still. Moving the jungles gives more mining, more agriculture. Well, we don't need that at all. They got Tocthony, they got a ship shelter. I should not build anything that is not essential at the moment. So the second one, I should rename places. So Glumplog, what kind of place are you? You're tropical. And nothing else terribly special. We're going to change your name over to... We're in a place called Wet, right? We have Dry, we have Moist. We do not have Wet. Tropical world feels... it's not wet enough, right? Wet is the ocean planets. So instead we're going to call it... Tropics. Hot. It's not as hot as the desert planet, but it's okay. Humid. Humid's a big word for rock people, but like, humid's good. This one, a continental world. It's our first place of continents. We're gonna call this, it's not rocky, because it's not mountains. Continents, confusing. Confused. It wants to be rock people, but it's not quite rock people. They have a job, good. And then Glump the Generator World, we're gonna call you just Power, I believe. Power. And what is your special effect here? It's Bleak. So less food, less habitability, life struggle to survive, while some cling to a tenacious existence as anemic and sickly both. We appropriated land, we drove out the native population. Good stuff, good stuff. Okay, upgrading this building consumes consumer goods, makes unity. We don't want that right now. What we want is... Not sure why Generator World. I don't know why that was the selection they made. But it's an absolute shambles. Okay. I'm gonna go industrial districts. Just one for now to give some people jobs. I'm also going to make... Can't afford anything. I'll come back to you soon. Okay. I need my ships to all return home to stop consuming so much energy. Beloved Bubbles is actually not docked up, even though Beloved Bubbles is the best little amoeba ever. We've been thrown out of the Q-Phos autocracy and also out of the Raxicodium alignment. The faraway people do not like us, understandably. Everyone else is docked up, good to good. We have a bunch of undocked construction ships. Do construction ships consume power by being undocked? Actually don't know. What I know though is I don't really want to expand. Holy cow! Positive 210 consumer goods? What? What just happened? What did I just change? I know I changed a couple of my planets from being, it's crazy. I changed a couple of my planets from alloy production to consumer good production. That's crazy how much that moved. I had no idea. Wow. All right, consumer goods, good to go. No problems ever at all. That's a wonderful change. That's amazing. Maybe it's trade also? Maybe so. I see I have a couple more unconnected stations. Also, we're over top on stations, so I should get rid of some stations I don't really need. And I think this one is fine. Oops, where is it? There it is. Wish to downgrade you. So we're getting rid of anchorages, but I'm okay with that for right now. No worries. We're over by one more still. There's trade here I'd like to get, but I'll probably put it somewhere else for that. So this one, the Trappist system, I'm also just going to destroy for now. Okay, that'll put us at... I had to unpause, let it add up. Construction ships do have 1 energy a month. Aganar, thank you for knowing that. For now, I'm just going to say... Maybe not. I was going to say no more building, but if there are places we can build, they'll give us big power. That could be nice. We need to start saving money in order to prepare for our next, I don't know, reintegration war, we'll call it. This ship... I think I need to make claims on my old territories, so no. I'm just going to destroy all the construction ships for now. We can definitely rebuild them later. They're not special. They're just leased out from the Tonka Corporation. Goodbye to you all. Okay. Got a bunch of science ships also. I've loved all of them for a very, very long time. I want to have them help with research if they're done with their auto-scanning. So I'm going to keep them for now, and they'll see what they can find. Someone is making food somewhere. Who is making food, and how do I stop this? Also, this is unattached. Can I get this connected to a trade network? In that this is non-contiguous, I assume not. The Bleak Planet had farms? No, that's not allowed. So it does. Destroy. No farms allowed. I think we're gonna survive. So there's only 2 areas left for me to try to claim. That'll be okay. We have no food consumption, so I believe this is us starving our populations. Because none of my people eat food. I think. Oh, the Bleak Planet also had a food building, so it does, thank you. I should feel bad about starving folks, but how it goes. Okay, just wait a little bit. Everything's going down, down, down. Good. Fleet size here is 6,500. No fleet here. We really should win this. I really think we will. Food shortages. Oh, comma, no. The food deficit is out of control. We have to cut back on expenditures to increase our income, failing which will face even bigger penalties. So while this is running, we have biological pop happiness goes down and growth goes slower. So is that true even of my rock people? Because I very, very much want to starve our non-rock people, but that's a shame. That's a shame. Hey, Nicandria, thank you for the radio host. Nicandria, what are you playing today? It's good to see you, my friend. Hope twitching is going well for you. I guess we'll continue buying food until they all die out. It's weird that they are eating food while simultaneously being starved. I don't know. I can't have those shortages at all. Playing silly games? I hope the silly games are fun. And Nicandria viewers, welcome channel. Hope things are going great for you today. I just want to see if I have claims here already. Though your kind will never learn the meaning of democracy, we'll teach you the meaning of war. Yeah. So, I already have claims on both their territories. I may need to purge your gangs to do that. So, Agonarch, in my governmental strategy here, where was it? Something about something. Purging. Here we go. So, we're on displacement only. It's not our responsibility to see the needs of those who would undermine the foundation of society. Let them find their own homes outside the borders. So, I thought this means that they would be starved, but maybe it means refugees welcome. No. Yeah, citizen species only, thank you. I think they're not able to take jobs. Let's see. I need xenophobia or authoritarians that purge allowed. So we are authoritarian. We're not good fanatically enough. Yeah, I may need to change the species rights here. Hello species, there's 16 of you. Here are your rights. You are allowed to be slaves. No. You are undesirables. Out you go. Living standards non-existent. The process of being purged. It's not a killing purge. They're making a decision. Their decision is, if you live here, you do not eat, so go live somewhere else. That's fine. Population controlled online. No growing population. Good. Migration controls. Can't leave your planets. It's good. Purge type. Only do displacement. Affected pops are expelled from the nation over time, left to find refuge somewhere else. It's not that we drive them from their homes. Their homes are simply no longer theirs. I'm a monster. That's good, though. They should find their way to a savannah planet. That's where y'all belong. It feels very strange not to be good guy resorted right now. I'm actually forced labor. Okay. Let me look and see what forced labor requires. I mean, I don't need them to die. If they leave, I'm totally fine. Forced labor. Have to have purging and policies. Affected pops are worked to death and be used to produce food and minerals until they die. I don't even like reading these things independently of actually doing them. But yeah. Allowed, you have to have fanatic xenophobe, gestalt consciousness, or xenophobe, or the Undertaker from the top rope. Yeah, unfortunately we can't do any of those. They'll leave us soon enough. I'm down with human rights and rock rights. Not quite so down with rights for mushrooms. Hey, and even bigger fleets, that's great. Anything that will help the economy would be great. I see resources from jobs. Xenobiology is almost finished. How much is it for research for jobs? 14,000 take a very long time. So yeah, I will go ahead and research. Good. Fungi people, they are not people. How dare you speak those words in my channel? What do you mean fungi, quote-unquote, people? Okay, I'm feeling good about the playthrough again. Yeah, as stream started today, I had a real moment of, oh no, is it possible we're just gonna lose? And that hasn't happened, and that's top flight fun. Oh, I need to go look at the other empires. I haven't done that quite yet. Us weaklings, that's us. Our war is on the way to plunder your systems. The Zufavan Marauders are here. Now, their territory does not touch our territory, so I don't know how Marauders can come and get us if they don't touch us. But, you'll get nothing but scum. We're the only warriors. Fool that will take by force, etc. I love it. Hey Miffy, how good am I at building ships to counter enemy ships? Unbelievably bad. I understand in concept how it's done. I've never actually tried to do it. But I know, like, lasers are countered by shields, or countered by... this is the Erasu Order. They're spiritual pacifists. Sounds like troops to be consumed. Do you know anything about the strength of the other empires out there? We had to resolve the Civil War first, but beyond that... pathetic. The characters are overwhelming, that's usual. These are pre-FTL folks. All the ones out to the east are unknown, and all of them are part of a federation. An issue. How many assault armies do I have? I thought I had a pretty decent amount. There are a lot of the warframes, the giant robots. So many of them are just hanging out here and there from earlier situations. So I'm going to go ahead and move all you up here. I think you'd be in preparation for landing on all these territories, in which case, yeah, absolutely yes. Oh, maybe they cost a lot of energy. Oh, so you weren't asking about preparing to invade. You're asking about, am I wasting all of our energy? In which case, I'm sure I am. But don't worry, I'll get it fixed real soon. I got a fleet there to move forward to. Cool. The birth of the galactic community. Oh boy. Several spacefaring empires, some of them unknown, have bonded together to form a galactic community. Do I want part in this? Heck no. We stand alone, thank you. The only community we have is of the people we integrate into us by force. Xenobiology. So faster research going. What's mostly finished down here? Nothing I care about immediately. So I will go ahead and go with... Oh, this is not the one I thought it was. Let's go ahead and do off-world trading companies to get greater trade value. I think you build only one of these, is that right? I think you build only one of those and more trade everywhere. Hello, Cassius Carl. How many hours do I have in Stellaris? Only about 200, to be honest. Of the Paradox games I play regularly, this is the one that I have played the least of. And, yeah, I'm okay with that. But I do also feel like I wish I had a bunch more hours. I don't have nearly the expertise that some other streamers do in this game. Alright, so stability is getting fixed here. That is lovely, lovely, lovely. Am I familiar with the repercussions of not joining the galactic community? I know I'm not allowed to vote. I think if an endgame crisis comes, they won't invite me to be helped by them. Past that, not sure. What mistakes have I made by deciding to go it alone? Archaeology Online. Following small and narrow tunnels, the expedition team finally stumbled into the innermost sanctum. I don't remember where this is. A vast and exquisitely crafted chamber adorned by sculptures carved into the rock. Translation of spiritual texts carved into the walls called the place the Ninth Step. Apparently one of many destinations on a religious journey taken by a creating species. If this is the Ninth Step, where are the other 8? How many steps have been following? Is this our AA? Is this confessing your sins to somebody? I think it might be. Back to digging. Good. Okay, upgrading this costs 4.5 total energy. Consumes consumer goods. I'm fine with that. Cool. So nice seeing things positive. You get diplomatic penalty if you don't join the Galactic Empire. Maybe it can also make you a galactic threat. That'd be great. I look forward to becoming the Crisis. That is the goal of this thing. Just gotta fix the economy first. Alright, so standardly, we build the Autochthony Monument here and the Gene Clinic here. Gene Clinic's gonna cost a little bit more.
Council agenda ready.
Good. The Council. Oh boy, the Council. Display of power. So we get more influence more quickly, and also ready to go destroy everyone. Can't wait for that one. Alright. What do we want next then? What are the problems happening in the Empire right now? Stability is actually pretty good. We could go for cheaper ships for a while. The war's going fairly soon. Materialism, get robots and such. So far, no robots, only us. Let's go for military buildup, I think. Happiness, who needs that? Yeah. Cool. Cheaper ships mean less power, you're absolutely right. Fernandez, thank you for finding all of my commands I've not updated. According to the bot, what game are we playing today? Is Norland. What are our current goals? Something involving CK3. So good. so good. One of these days I'll do updating of all of the bot commands. Just not today. Hey! Mining drones are super cheap. And they'll give us more resources too. We have a few more months to worry about that at all. Good stuff. We really have turned a corner. Oh gosh. Okay, we're fine. Whew! I have a doctor's appointment in 15 minutes. Honestly, I haven't looked at the clock in I don't know how long. I had a sudden moment of, oh gosh, if I missed my meeting. I have not. We're good. We're fine. No worries. But... briefly, absolute heartache, absolute terror there. We're gonna stream a little longer. Doctor appointment is right here. It's gonna be a Zoom meeting. It's not a go across town meeting. So we'll stay for a while longer. We're fine. But whew. Oh my goodness. This is our relic world. Relic world, the tech world. Is that what I actually want here? I actually don't know what our kind of research there is. Make it a tracker in form of events, like a calendar or something? I don't know about that. Tech world, I think, is the maximum research place. Aw, a rural world. This makes farming stuff. No, it seems about right for now. Lots of jobs still.
Research complete.
Limited jobs here on this generator world. Throw up a couple more. Relic world there for tech research? Absolutely. We can get more trading stuff. Good. Good. A civic slot. A civic slot could be very, very useful. We'll do that for sure. The Anthurian Kingdom. A second group of tortoises? What is this tortoise world? Must destroy you. Terribly sorry. I hit a peaceful nation. Some unconnected stations. If you mean this one, it's way up here. So I honestly don't know if I can connect that, because it doesn't touch the rest of my territory. Let's try, though. What you say? Actually connect. I didn't realize I could do that. Piracy all the way along, though. It probably is worth nothing by the time it gets there. We'll try our best, though. An ad break is coming in 1 minute's time, my friend. I'm gonna go ahead and check that out. We'll do a little crossword puzzle. On the other side of the ad break, I am gonna take a quick break from stream. I'll go to the doctor's appointments, and then I'll come back and play more video game. If you're going to bed, that's cool. If you want to come back, though, Probably about 15-20 minutes after the ad break, so probably the next half hour. My 11:30, I should be coming back. But you'll first see 3 minutes of crossword and then more Stellaris fun. Speaking of fun, today's stream has been really, really fun so far, so thank you for making that possible. All right, where are we? Self-titled 1978 album with the single "I'm Every Woman." I think I know that song. I think it's used in like deodorant commercials, maybe in the U.S., but I don't know who it is, honestly. Free. It could be gratis. There's lots of other ways freedom can be understood too. Fall dramatically. So it'd be like off a precipice, possibly, metaphorically, like the stock market falls. Not sure. Keeping time. That's a very, very, very long answer. It probably ends in a shun. This is me being a little bit risk-takey. Well balanced. Could be even, maybe? We'll put even in C in a moment here. Goofy. He's a dog, I think. Dry run, possibly a test. Weaving projects. Weaving projects. So you use a loom to make cloth. I don't know enough about that, unfortunately. Defined as muscles. It's really toned. Cool. A person who's been swayed. We've had exactly this for quite a long time, and I just don't know what it is. So, traditional Spanish marzipan. I think it's a dessert. I don't think I know anything about it, though, past that. Get delivery? Order in, possibly? I don't like order in at all. It's the kind of thing someone would never say. Or maybe it's said in places I've not lived before. I know eat in and eat out are used, but I don't really know order in. Suggest as a conclusion. And imply. Film technique that pairs, frame that pair characters. I said tight shot, but I guess that's not right. Found loopholes in, say. Cheated. Not sure. Jubilant cry as the clock expires. We win, maybe? I was thinking initially New Year's Eve. Clock expires, Happy New Year. That's a little bit too too long. Persuades to participate. Maybe ropes in, possibly. A camping shelter with vertical sides. So some kind of tent. Acquires illicitly in a way. Pirates? Yes, sailing that sea. Given. Well, ed is surely the end. Containing neither meat nor dairy. Something free does not fit. So, neither meat nor dairy. It could be. It's on the road to vegan. Halal and kosher both have meat in them. This need to be a special kind. Blank beans, cowboy beans. I don't know what this is. I have no idea. Wait, it ends with an O. So there's pinto beans. Long-legged birds and egret. Move stealthily. Snuck. Crept, possibly. It might be served over rice. A soup? Soup over rice? That seems wrong to me. Lifeguard skill. Probably CPR. Also, swimming. Outrage. Possibly ire. Ball. So you can have a ball. Possibly orb. Undesired pitch results. Possibly home runs. Pitch could also be the place where soccer's played, so losses maybe. All right, and with that, the ad break's over. We'll pause it here. And as I said, friends, I'm going to take off now for the next probably 20 minutes or so. I'm going to do the doctor thing. I'm going to put the green screen down and talk to a human person face to face. I will see his face. So back in about 20 minutes for more Stellaris. Thanks for being here. Do appreciate you all a whole bunch. Surely our Stellaris playthrough is on the up and up, and before long will become a threat to all known galaxy. That will be great. If I see you in a bit, I appreciate it. If not, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for hanging out, and I push the I go away button now. I'm not going to put up the closing screen. We're not done yet. Back in still a bit. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. I wonder if I click it, what number you hear last. 3, 2, 1.